good morning. Before the noise of the day fills your mind, before responsibilities begin pressing on you, and before fear tries to whisper what cannot be done, take this moment and remember something powerful. This day does not belong to worry. It belongs to God. Many people wake up expecting struggle, expecting disappointment, expecting another difficult day. But faith does something different. Faith wakes up and says, God is with me today. God is for me today. God is working on my behalf today. The way you start your morning can influence everything that follows. A heart filled with fear produces weakness, but a heart filled with faith produces strength, peace, and expectation. So right now, prepare your heart and open your spirit, because this message can change the direction of your day. Good morning. Before the noise of the day fills your mind, before responsibilities begin pressing on you, and before fear tries to whisper what cannot be done, take this moment and remember something powerful. This day does not belong to worry. It belongs to God. Every new morning is more than another date on a calendar. It is more than another routine beginning or another cycle of responsibilities waiting for your attention. Every morning is a gift. It is evidence of mercy that has met you once again. The fact that your eyes open today means there is still purpose ahead of you. There is still grace available for you. There is still strength prepared for you. God did not wake you up this morning to leave you alone in the middle of your struggles. He did not bring you into a new day without already making provision for everything you would face. Many people begin their mornings with pressure already sitting on their shoulders. Before their feet touch the floor, their minds begin racing. Thoughts about problems start moving through their minds. They think about financial burdens, family situations, responsibilities waiting for them, deadlines they must meet, and unanswered questions that seem too large to handle. Fear has a way of arriving early if we allow it. It tries to convince us that the day ahead will be difficult, that we are not strong enough, that things will not change, and that yesterday's struggles will simply repeat themselves. But faith speaks a different language. Faith does not wake up expecting defeat. Faith does not begin the day assuming that problems are greater than God's power. Faith lifts its eyes beyond circumstances and remembers who is in control. Faith understands that God has never lost a battle, never forgotten a promise, and never abandoned those who trust Him. The world may tell you to put your confidence in your own abilities, your own plans, or your own strength, but there will always come moments when human strength reaches its limits. There will be days when you do not have every answer. There will be moments when you do not know what direction to take. There will be situations that seem larger than your understanding. But your peace was never supposed to come from having everything figured out. Your peace comes from knowing the one who already knows the end from the beginning. So before anything else captures your attention today, allow your heart to settle into this truth. God is with you in this moment. He is before you, beside you, and already preparing the way ahead of you. His strength has not diminished. His promises have not changed. His love has not weakened, and His faithfulness has not failed. There is something powerful about the beginning of a day. The first thoughts you allow into your mind, the first words that come out of your mouth, and the first attitude you carry into the morning can set the course for everything that follows. The beginning of the day is often quiet before the activity starts. It is a moment before the world begins pulling at your attention from every direction. It is a moment that carries great importance, because what enters your heart first often influences how you respond to everything that comes afterward. Many people do not realize how much power exists in those first few moments after waking up. They rise from bed and immediately allow worry to take control. They begin reviewing problems before they even begin thanking God for another day. Their minds start replaying yesterday's disappointments, unfinished responsibilities, painful conversations, and concerns about tomorrow. Before they have even taken their first step, they are already carrying emotional weight that was never intended to become the foundation of their day. The mind is constantly receiving information, and whatever it receives repeatedly begins shaping attitudes and expectations. If a person starts every morning expecting difficulty, expecting failure, and expecting disappointment, that expectation slowly becomes a lens through which they see everything. Small problems begin appearing larger than they really are. Delays begin feeling like disasters. Temporary struggles begin feeling permanent. Fear starts building pictures that often never even come to pass, but faith functions differently. Faith does not deny that challenges exist, and it does not pretend that difficulties are not real. Faith simply chooses to place greater attention on God's ability than on the size of a problem. Faith understands that circumstances change, emotions change, and situations change, but God remains the same. His strength does not depend on the economy. His peace does not depend on favorable circumstances. His promises do not weaken because difficulties appear. When people wake up each morning, they are making choices whether they realize it or not. They are choosing what thoughts will occupy their minds. They are choosing what words they will speak over themselves. They are choosing whether fear or faith will lead their hearts. The first voice that gains influence often begins directing the rest of the day. That is why it matters what you allow yourself to think and say at the start of your morning. Instead of allowing anxiety to speak, choose to fill your heart with confidence. Instead of declaring weakness, begin declaring strength. Instead of saying that nothing will change, begin reminding yourself that God is still working even when you cannot see immediate evidence. Instead of expecting another day filled with defeat, begin expecting God's wisdom, favor, guidance, and peace to meet you in every place you go, but that is not the way faith operates. Faith does not begin with problems. Faith begins with God. That is one of the greatest differences between a life controlled by fear and a life directed by faith. Fear immediately searches for everything that could go wrong. Fear looks at obstacles, counts limitations, and measures difficulties. Fear studies circumstances and then forms conclusions based only on what can be seen with natural eyes. It magnifies challenges until they appear larger than they truly are and causes people to believe they are standing alone against impossible situations. Faith sees life through a different perspective. Faith lifts its eyes beyond the visible and remembers that God has never been limited by human circumstances. Faith remembers that what appears impossible to people has never been impossible for Him. Throughout life, there will always be moments when situations rise that seem greater than your own ability. There will be days when problems appear suddenly. Unexpected phone calls may come. Delays may happen. Doors may close. Plans may change. Challenges may stand in front of you without warning. But faith does not panic when circumstances change, because faith places confidence in the one who never changes. Many people spend their lives beginning every battle by examining the size of the problem. They focus on how large the mountain is, how difficult the situation appears, how many obstacles stand in the way, and how little strength they feel they have left. The more attention they give to the problem, the larger it seems to become in their minds. Soon discouragement enters their hearts, because they have allowed circumstances to become greater in their thinking than God's power. Faith reverses that process. Faith does not ignore difficulties, but it refuses to give them the highest place in the mind. Faith starts with God and then looks at problems through the understanding of who He is. Faith remembers His faithfulness in past seasons. It remembers prayers that were answered, doors that unexpectedly opened, strength that arrived during difficult moments, and peace that appeared when there seemed to be no reason for peace. There have been countless moments in life when people thought there was no way forward, yet God made a way where no path seemed visible. There were situations that looked hopeless, relationships that seemed broken beyond repair, needs that appeared impossible to meet, and burdens that felt too heavy to carry. Yet again and again, His faithfulness proved greater than human limitation. Faith understands that circumstances are temporary, but God remains constant. Problems may change from day to day, but His promises do not change. Human strength may become weak, but His strength does not fail. Feelings may rise and fall, but His truth stands firm regardless of emotions or situations. You may be facing situations that seem impossible. You may have concerns pressing against your thoughts. You may feel as if circumstances are standing before you like mountains. There are moments in life when problems seem larger than anything we expected to face. Sometimes challenges arrive gradually, one burden at a time, and sometimes they appear suddenly without warning. One day everything feels normal, and the next day it seems as if uncertainty has stepped into every area of life. In those moments, people often begin wondering how they will move forward, how they will find strength, and whether things will ever change. Many people know what it feels like to wake up with heaviness in their hearts. They understand what it means to carry silent concerns that nobody else can see. Outwardly, they may continue smiling and moving through their responsibilities, but inwardly, they are carrying fears, questions, and pressures that seem difficult to explain. Some are concerned about their families. Some are thinking about financial difficulties. Some are dealing with disappointment from unanswered prayers. Others are carrying emotional pain from things that happened in the past that still seem to follow them into the present. The enemy often uses these moments to plant thoughts of defeat in the mind. He wants people to believe that their circumstances are permanent. He wants them to believe that they have reached the end of hope, that nothing will improve, and that they are powerless against what stands before them. Fear begins creating pictures of failure and loss. It whispers that there is no way out and no reason to expect anything better. But circumstances do not have the final word. Feelings do not have the final word. Difficult situations do not have the final word. God always has the final word. There is a tendency in human nature to measure every situation according to personal strength and natural ability. People often look at what they possess and compare it to the size of the challenge standing before them. They count resources, abilities, opportunities, and limitations. Then they conclude that what they have is not enough. But God has never been dependent upon human limitation. He has never required perfect circumstances in order to accomplish His purposes. Faith understands that what appears impossible to human eyes may only be an opportunity for God's power to become visible. What seems like a closed door today may become the beginning of something greater than expected. What feels like delay may actually be preparation. What appears to be weakness may become a place where His strength is revealed in ways that could never have happened through human effort alone. But remember this truth. Mountains do not move because people worry. Mountains move because people believe. Worry has never created solutions, and fear has never opened doors. Anxiety spends energy imagining negative outcomes and carrying burdens repeatedly in the mind. But faith reaches beyond what is visible. and places confidence in God's ability. Many people spend years trapped in cycles of worry because they believe that constantly thinking about problems somehow gives them control over those problems. They replay situations over and over again, trying to predict every possibility and every outcome. Yet the more attention they give to fear, the heavier the burden becomes. Worry has a way of draining strength before the battle even begins. It steals peace from the present moment and replaces it with pressure about things that have not even happened. It causes people to lose joy over today's blessings because their minds become fixed on tomorrow's uncertainties. Fear keeps asking, what if things go wrong? Fear keeps presenting images of failure, disappointment, and defeat. Fear speaks loudly because it wants attention. It wants people to believe that circumstances are greater than God's promises. Faith speaks differently. Faith asks a different question. Instead of asking, what if things go wrong? Faith says, what if God moves in ways I never expected? Faith begins seeing possibilities where fear only sees obstacles. Faith understands that God's power is not limited by what appears impossible in human understanding. Throughout life, there will always be mountains. There will always be situations that seem larger than personal ability. Some mountains appear as financial struggles. Others appear as broken relationships, physical exhaustion, emotional pain, uncertainty about the future, or challenges that seem to continue longer than expected. Mountains come in different forms, but they all attempt to produce the same result. They try to convince people to stop believing. Mountains stand in front of people, appear strong, unmovable, and permanent. They seem to declare that progress is impossible and that change will never come. But mountains only appear permanent when viewed through the eyes of fear. Faith sees something different. Faith understands that no obstacle is greater than God. People often underestimate the power of believing. Believing is not pretending problems do not exist. Believing is not ignoring reality or acting as though difficulties are absent. True faith simply chooses to agree with God's truth more than with present circumstances. Faith declares that even when answers are not visible, God is still working. Even when progress seems slow, God has not stopped moving. Even when situations appear unchanged, His power continues operating beyond what human eyes can presently see